What's up, Knife Tube? It's Diamond Castile, and you guys are going to learn something today. Alrighty, so what we're going to do, um, we're going to put a fresh edge on a very well used knife. And I'm going to show you one of the reasons why I speak so highly of what is considered by uninformed as a crap steel. And that would be good old German Krupp 4116. It's a steel that is wrongfully crapped on by many, and usually the ones that are crapping on it are people that don't use it. They just heard their buddy comment, or one of their YouTuber buddies, and say, oh, it's just another crap steel. And guess what? Now that's what it's considered, and they go spew that all over the fucking internet. This knife is been well used. That's actually quite impressive that it's still got that good of an edge. And it's been stropped back many times. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive for as much as this knife's been used. And so, I'm going to show you something. Watch. I'm going to lightly just knock the edge down. I'm not putting a lot of, just very light pressure, but remember, that's a ceramic rod. And there's still enough, you wouldn't want to use that, but look, it will still cut. Like, it's just a very stable steel. I say it all the time. Now we're going to go ahead and kill that edge. I say it all the time that this steel right here would not be used by all your legacy German kitchen cutlery brands and their high-end stuff if it wasn't a good steel. Okay? Chefs would not spend big money on these sets. And of course it's gone now, but wow, look at that. I mean, it's dull, of course, but you could still cut with this edge. You might not want to, but you could. Let's go ahead and knock a little bit more of that off. But these companies would not use this steel if it was not a good performing steel. Professionals would not spend huge money on these kitchen knife sets, if this steel wasn't a good performing steel. Yeah, we're dull now. Okay. They just wouldn't. These legacy brands, very high-end traditional manufacturers, Hinkles, and so on and so forth. This is a very popular steel with them, and it's used in their high-end cutlery because it's a steel, number one, they know how to work with very, very well. The company that makes these knives for cold steel absolutely knows what they're doing. The company in Taiwan, they know what they're doing with this piece of steel quite well, actually. And, they end up putting out a good, high performance, for the money piece of steel that has a couple traits that I very much enjoy in a knife. We're gonna see some of those traits right now. Now, because this edge has probably been stropped back 25, 30 times, you know, and I mean, it was still sharp. I could have stropped it right back to shaving, no problem, but it had got to the point where it had no bite. Yeah, it's just you know, it annoys me when I see people that, you know, they go around commenting on everything and they ain't got no damn clue. But you know, oh, that's just, you know, that's a crap steel. I wouldn't even carry that. It's not serviceable. You know, oh, you shouldn't buy that. That's garbage steel. My friend said fucking so and so, and it's annoying. You know, it's one of the parts of YouTube, and I'm thankful. I don't get that on my page, not yet, anyways. You know, I'm actually quite thankful for that. But you know, because I mean, flat out, if somebody's on my page speaking BS like that, I'm gonna call them out on it, flat out. You know, I don't care what your friend said. Speak from experience and don't go spreading bullshit. You know, like that's the whole problem with the internet. What I have here is a silicone carbide flattening block. Nice flat backside of it. I'm gonna go ahead and, because this is quite a beat on edge. You know, that steel's been heavily fatigued, so we're gonna go ahead and remove some of it. And I want to just remove it a little faster than, you know, that aluminum stone's gonna do. But I'm going to show you one of the things that I really, really like about 4116 and why I personally consider it one of the better budget steels. You know, there's probably a lot of people that would argue with me from now on that this is not a good budget steel, but they're wrong. You know, not being cocky or arrogant and saying I'm right, but this is a perfectly serviceable budget steel. It is a very good, low cost EDC knife steel. A nice flat bevel to work with. Feel it grab the stone really nicely. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, we're gonna do something that I typically wouldn't do, but I just want to show you one of the reasons why I really like this steel. I don't know if I've done any other video on where I did this with this steel. I'm not sure. I don't think I have. But yeah. And you know, this right here, what I'm doing right now, that's something that a lot of people don't think about. And you don't really hear nobody say, hey, you know, do this. And that is use the back of your your silicone carbide flattening block as a nice fast cutting stone. You most certainly can. You most certainly can. You know what? I was trying to get this so I didn't catch this right here, but that's aggravating me. I don't want it to cause me no angle issues, so this feels very unnatural. But Can y'all see? Yes. Okay, almost got full burn. That looks really nice, actually. Got missed just ever so slightly. Okay, no problem. But yeah, it's something you don't really hear nobody say. Use your silicone carbide flattening block as a, more aggressive stone if you need one. And you absolutely can. They do a pretty daggum good job because they're so friable. They wind up being a quite fast cutting stone. It's that friable nature of them where they release abrasive very quickly. And these things will remove some metal quite quickly. Alrighty, I believe we're in business now. I'll tell you, with one of my followers, man, I had a great phone call today. I think we talked like 3 hours. A whole bunch of laughing, just a good time. One thing I've got to say is, my followers, you are some good people. Like, seriously. You know what? Y'all are nice people, common sense based. See, look how nice of a job that flattening block did. I don't know why. It's something that you don't hear consistently. Hey, use this as a low grit stone or a more aggressive stone, because this is like a 320. So, naturally there's not much difference between it and the 400, but this will cut way faster than the 400 will. Way faster, because it's so much more friable. It releases abrasive so much quicker, and it just cuts quick. But he had me tickled to death today. I was just laughing my ass off at our conversation, and just such a quality person. Common sense oriented. Just a genuinely good guy. And there's so many of you guys that are exactly that. Y'all are common sense focused people, and man, I appreciate that. Like, I really appreciate that. You guys are, y'all are intelligent, and, there's no dumbass comments that get left. I mean, there are occasionally, but for the most part, you guys are great. And I don't see that bullshit on my channel's comments that I see on a lot of channels. You don't see people here like commenting. I mean, occasionally you will, but for the most part, you won't. But you won't see comments where like somebody will just pop on every video and they're the expert on everything in the comment section. But they don't have a single video up. They contribute nothing. But man, they're a know-it-all. They are a absolute expert in the field of everything they're talking about. I see it occasionally in the comment section on my channel, but it's rare. And of course, it's by none of my true regulars. And man, I appreciate that. Like, I do. I appreciate you guys being good, just good subscribers, and y'all are my friends. And I like talking to y'all. was a slight misgrind up here at the tip of this knife from the factory. I'm going to clean that up right now. But him and I was talking about 4116 a lot today. That's what made me, you know what, I need to sharpen that knife. So why not make a video on it tonight and show one of the really great things about 4116. And now, of course, something I want y'all to understand. I am way taking my time doing this. I'm just talking bullshit. I'm taking far longer than necessary. This knife you can take from, 4116 in general, you can take from dull as hell to, hair whittling sharp very, very quickly. I could literally be done with the whole sharpening by now. Less time than this, actually. So, y'all don't think just because you see it take me a while that it is, takes a long time to sharpen. It doesn't. Not by any means. This is an extremely fast sharpening steel. I haven't got, man, they ground that tip. They didn't round it off, but they kind of started to. And I've got the tip formed right, but you can still see the difference in scratch pattern up right at the top of my belt, at the top of the bevel. That's where they kind of messed up, and that drives me crazy. Perfectly consistent scratch pattern, except till right there. Yeah, I got it. That's gonna drive me nuts. It drove me nuts last time. Every time I touch a knife, I see it. So let's correct that. Remember, work, blend. Work, blend. Do not focus on one area too long. Because you will grind a facet in quickly. That will make you have to waste a lot of steel to correct. So don't do that. So you want to focus on that spot for a second and blend. Okay. That should have got you, yeah, buddy. All right. Now we got it. There we go. Now it won't aggravate me no more. And didn't have to waste too much steel. Sorry about that. My camera died. But anyways, I don't quite exactly know where it was. I know it was before I went. I know the camera was rolling when I got up to go to the sink. So anyways, last thing I was saying is, I appreciate common sense based conversation. And unfortunately, it's rare these days. I will say, and that's one thing I'm so thankful for, that my followers are common sense based people, and I don't get that ignorant shit. Like, the Reddit, I used to enjoy Reddit, especially, like the knife end of Reddit. I used to very much enjoy that. I wish they didn't have that like that. I mean, I know they got to catch water, but that catches my hand and it's annoying. Um, Especially with longer blades. But well, Reddit, I used to very much enjoy, and it still caught my hand. Okay, that's gonna drive me crazy. Like I like the sharpening tray very much. It's good quality. That lip right there very much annoys me. Very much annoys me. And by the way, these are the THLEITE. This is the 400, the THLEITE Whetstone set. I've said it many times. It's a phenomenal deal. $60. 4 very good stones. The 400 1000 are absolute bangers. The 3K and 8K are great, but they're a little too soft. They still work fantastic, but anyways, back to what I was saying. Reddit, I used to really enjoy. I used to like going on there and talking on the knives, sharpening, and shooting, like long range shooting. But over the years, and this is forums too. There's just so many clueless ass people. And I mean, genuinely, like, I hate to call some people dumb, but people that are so clueless that they are dumb. They think they're extremely smart, and they're just dumb. And sadly, they run most of the forums. The knife forums, gun forums got absolutely killed by just common senseless people. The knife forums, sharpening forums, they held on pretty good for a while, but once the people that actually did know their stuff got tired of all the new people coming in that were clueless, and they said, "Yeah, fuck this, I'm out." It fucked the whole shebang up. Like, just forums ain't worth nothing anymore. Reddit has become, it used to be cool. It has become the cesspool of the internet. There's just so many clueless people on there that, for the people that actually do know what they're talking about, or the people that want to learn, all the assholes and the know-it-alls, they ruined it for everybody. Like, people that are newer to sharpening, and they get on there and ask questions, and the assholes that don't know what they're talking about try to make them sound like fools for not knowing. Well, I can't believe you have to come here and ask that. Like, well, you're not as good as you think you are. Blah, 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 blah. Like, that's so easy. And then they'll go off and tell what they should do, and they are fucking completely wrong. I mean, not always, but in a lot of cases. And it's like, holy shit, you're a tool, man. Like, and there's not one. There's tons. There is tons of them. Right now I'm working on that very, very end edge termination right there. Catching that little shark's fin. Damn it. Let's see. That's what you call looking away and slipping off the stone. Don't do that. Do not do that. That is not good. Thankfully, how I did it, that didn't catch the tip. But that right there, that will round your tip off quicker than anything. Okay. Again, that does not load up. Comes right up. It's perfect. We're going to have a nice consistent scratch pattern, and we do. Looks beautimous. But yeah, you know, I don't know. I don't want my channel as it grows to get to where, you know, I start getting tons of those ass wipes on, you know, in my comment section doing exactly what I'm talking about right now. You know, like I see in so many other comment sections. Like, I really don't want that, because one thing I'm sure y'all know, if you comment, I reply to you. You know, I might miss one every now and then, but if you comment, I reply. And, you know as I get bigger, I will reach a point where I just get too many comments and I can't do it. Okay, I get that. But I won't put up with dumbasses. I'll tell you that. That is one thing I will not put up with. You know, I will not put up with dumbasses. They, you know, the know-it-all, you know, the people that just spew bullshit, the know-it-all spew bullshitters. Yeah, I will not put up with that. Not gonna happen. You know, that's one thing I won't allow. I don't care how big I get. I will pay attention to the comments enough to where, like, you know, if you're on somebody's on the channel and they're spewing bullshit, I'll block them in a heartbeat. You know, this channel, ooh, that's a crispy tip. That's what I like to see. And see, one mistake, that just slipping off, looking up and slipping off that stone, could have just destroyed that tip. It didn't, but it could have. I love how, you know, you get a nice flat bevel, a nice flat stone, and you can feel it grab that stone so perfectly. I love it. I love it. But I'm sure y'all can tell it's late at night. Insomnia is kicking my ass right now. So I'm just doing this and talking. You know, the video does have a point. I'm doing this not just to sharpen and talk. I want to show y'all one of the things that I really love about 4116. Until I get there, I'm just bullshitting with you guys. You know, I see, and I'm not the kind of person that's going to talk about somebody. I don't do that. I'm not going to, say shit about a specific person, and if I do, I'm going to call them out by name. You know, like when I have a problem with the, you know, the counterfeit thing, and, you know, I have no problem saying who it is. You know, that was in the beginning of my YouTube days, and I was a little more, you know, a little more timid. Yeah, I didn't want to start shit. Just starting YouTube, but, you know, and if you wanted to know, I didn't state the name in the video, but if you wanted to know, just go look in the comment section. It was right there. Now, you know, now I've had enough experience, been here long enough that I don't give a fuck. If I got a problem with you, I'm gonna, you know, a YouTuber, I'm gonna, you know, like I said in that video with the counterfeit thing, fuck Fred. Like, that's bullshit what he's doing. I don't care if he don't like me. Don't care. I really don't give a fuck. In fact, I'd love him to come comment on one of my videos. We can have a civil conversation, or we can be dicks. I don't care. We'll see. We'll see who's the bigger dick. You know, sitting there and posting up affiliate links nonstop for fucking counterfeit knives and calling them replicas. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. You're making money off of that. And you're making money off of counterfeits. And, you know, there's plenty of problems with that. But the biggest one is, how many of your viewers are going to, you know, somebody come across your video and get the bright idea to be the next fucking one of the countless, you know, people out there selling counterfeits as the real things. There's endless of them on eBay. You know, when's somebody gonna see your video and, oh, I can get these? Man, you know, that looks so real. Nobody'd know. And there's another one. And you're making money off of that shit. But excuse me. But I really have a problem with people, YouTubers, especially bigger YouTubers, that people look up to. You know, their viewership looks up to them, and, you know, they look at them as experts. And sadly, most of them aren't anything close to that. You know, but when I'm still going on channels that's, you know, over 200,000 subscribers, you know, and all they do is gear, you know, outdoor stuff, knives. And, you know, I'm still hearing the same bullshit of somebody saying, you know, wait, you know, oh, you can get it in this steel, or you can get this option in this steel, or you can get this option in D2. You know, it's going to be harder to sharpen, or you can get this in S30V, or you can get, you know, this alternative in 154 cm. But, you know, the S30V, it's going to be a lot harder to sharpen. Oh my God. I don't think anything annoys me more. We're fucking 2025, and we're still hearing, you know, almost fucking 2026, and we're still hearing people that, you know, are put themselves as experts in what they, you know, fucking gear, and saying such and such, it's going to be harder to sharpen. It's going to be harder to sharpen. And it's like, that is the wrong thing to say. That is not good for your community. That is not good for your viewership. You're telling them Any time you go to a more wear, something that you see as a more wear resistant steel, whether it is or isn't, it's automatically, well, it's going to be harder to sharpen. Don't forget that's going to be harder to sharpen. That's not good for your viewership. And the reason it's not is because you're scaring these people away from either, you know, trying this steel out, or more importantly, if they already have it, you're scaring them away from, so and so said it's going to be, this is a much harder to sharpen steel. I better not use this knife because I don't want to dull it. Or if it is dull, I need to sharpen this knife, but so and so said this is a really hard steel to sharpen, so I better not do it. I'm not going to mess my knife up. Okay. And I know this happens. And how do I know it happens? Because I have a lot of sharpening customers that, that's how the conversation gets started is, I have a bunch of knives. I use my stuff. And, I watched YouTube sharpeners or YouTube gear people, whomever. And, I always hear this steel is so hard to sharpen. This is a hard steel. This is a really hard steel to sharpen. And so I'm scared to sharpen my stuff. So I don't even try. That bothers me. That bothers me. And, or when I hear this, and it's another one, and it's that same specific gear reviewer. You'll hear, them call, and this is common. It's many of them. You'll hear them call like S35VN, for example, a hard steel. Like, they got D2 and S35, or even fucking 14C or 8CR and S35 or S30V. And you'll hear them say, this is a much harder steel. That tells you right there how much they don't know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Production S35VN is typically 58, 59 Rockwell. Guess what your average piece of 14C is? Exactly. 59, 60, even 61. Most of your ACR out there is in that 58 to 60. Most D2 is in that 58 to 61. So technically, well, not technically, factually, they're like, this is a much harder piece of steel. No, it's not. That piece of 14C that's in your other hand, that's at 61 59, 60 Rockwell, is going to be probably harder, or if it's not harder, it's going to be just about the same, is that piece of 58, 59, 60 HRC S35VN or S30V or whatever. See, they don't even, they pretend to be experts, and they talk as an expert, but they don't even know the difference between hardness and wear resistance. You know what I mean? And when you're sitting there and telling people, oh, this is a very hard piece of steel, that automatically makes that person think that's going to be a very hard to sharpen knife. And that's just bullshit. Now we're on the 3K right now, but yeah, they're they're putting themselves out there as experts, but they don't even know the difference between hardness and wear resistance. You know, like that's a problem, especially when you're putting yourself, you're presenting yourself as an expert in what you do. People see you, they see you have a large channel, so they expect, okay, this person knows what he's talking about. This person is an expert at what he's saying, he knows his stuff. And I'm not saying, the guy don't know his stuff. I mean, some of the stuff he says is, I'm sure he says some correct stuff. I'm sure that some of his reviews are accurate. I'm sure that he's not all full of shit. But somebody I've on and off seen his channel for many years, and he's not the only one. There's tons of these guys. But and I some of the stuff, I hear him talking, doing a review on a knife, and I agree with what, he's not wrong. His review's accurate, but, or at least how I feel. I feel the same, but you can't, when you're presenting yourself as an expert, you have to, you can't just give out bullshit information. You have to know what you're talking about, because you are teaching people, whether you're intending to or not. You're teaching people. And now, when you say that, like, oh, this S35EN, this is very, very hard steel. It's 60 HRC, or 58, 59 HRC. This is really hard steel. And now that person goes and, well, he believes you. Or she believes you. She listened to what you said, she believes you. So, next time when she's talking to somebody now, or in a comment section, and, somebody is talking about S35EN, for example, and for example, 14C, she's going to say, she or he's going to say, that S35EN, that's a much harder steel. And it's going to be much harder to sharpen. Well, sadly, and then guess what happens? Sadly, guess what happens? That happens to many people. Many people follow that. And then now they go around and they parrot that everywhere. And before long, guess what you have? You have tons of people repeating the same shit that you said that's not correct. And because so many people say it, people that, they read one person say it, and then, 10 people agree with them. Now that person, 10 people agreed with them, so they must be right. And now that becomes the truth to that person. And guess what? Now they do the same thing. And see, that's where people, that's where your reviewers that, take on the role, present themselves as an expert. Their fan base, their viewership puts them as an expert. And when they're not, that really starts to fuck stuff up. And that is why we have armies of parrots that say the same shit on every comment section you see. Thankfully not mine yet. on every Reddit post, on every, knife video comment section, and it's sad because people that don't know any better, just getting into it, they read that, and now guess what? They're scared. They're scared to sharpen their knives. They're scared to even try because it's going to be such a hard steel to sharpen. Or like in this case right here, 4116 is, that's just a bottom of the barrel budget steel. Where do you think that come from? I can tell you where it come from. It come from YouTubers, trashing this steel. And, well, all their followers go and say the same shit all over the place. And, well, there you go. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just annoying. It's one reason why I started the channel, along with, not all the shills out there. Me wanting to be an anti-shill. But yeah, it's just bullshit information getting spread around, and the shilling problem. That's why I started this channel. But it bothers me badly when people come to me and they're like, I've always been too scared to try to sharpen my nice knives, so I just never give it a shot. Why? Because I'll hear all these YouTubers and all these people in the comments or on Reddit. They say these are such hard steels to sharpen, and it's gonna take forever. It's gonna take you forever to sharpen these hard steels. And it's like, I'm sorry people bullshitted you. I'm sorry, I'm sorry that people that didn't know what they were talking about caused you to miss out on what is a great hobby. Making you be scared of what is a great hobby that you may absolutely love doing. It's like I say, the only hard steel to sharpen, the only truly hard steel to sharpen is a poor quality, poor heat treated piece of steel. That's it. That is it. Your more wear resistant steels, your harder steels, they're not any more hard to sharpen. The only difference is they may require different abrasives. You may have different abrasive need, and it may take a little longer. But I can assure you, the average person is going to have an easier time getting a quality steel with a quality heat treat sharp than they will a piece of trash steel with a garbage heat treat. Okay? That's just the way it is. But it's just, I don't know, I said it before, the knife community and the sharpening community are very fickle places. They're very, very fickle places. And I say the sharpening community even more so than the knife community itself. And there's a whole shit ton of misinformation. And that misinformation is spread around Like, it is absolute fact. Now, if y'all haven't figured out what I'm doing yet, I'm showing y'all, how beautiful and nice of a mirror 4116 takes, and how super sticky this steel comes up. This steel gets incredibly sharp. Incredibly sharp. It really does. The steel gets incredibly sharp. Do I have plenty of water? It's sticking, damn it. But if you are somebody that's new and you're watching my videos and you want to learn to sharpen, you have knives, and steels that you hear are harder to sharpen and all this BS, and you're interested in sharpening, I'm going to say this with complete confidence. Don't be scared to sharpen your knives. Okay? Take your time. Listen to people who know what they're talking about. Get the correct abrasive for the steel that you need. My suggestion is, like always, start out with just get you a decent diamond plate, set of diamond plates, like a Sharpall 325 and 1200. That's going to take care of all your needs initially. And just, don't start out on your high-end stuff. Start out to get a feel for it. Just start out on, a decent knife, and don't be scared. Don't be scared. Just take your time. Take your time and watch what you're doing. Make a couple pass or two and look. It, like, that way you're not, just grinding and just removing metal for no reason. But just take your time. Do not be scared to sharpen. If you have a piece of S30V, and you've heard the countless S30Vs, such a hard steel to sharpen. It's chippy. It's this. It's such a chippy steel. S30V is a fantastic EDC knife steel. If it's say you got a piece of Spyderco or even Benchmade, their S30V is good. It is spotty. You will see a bad piece every now and then, but that's going to be the case with everybody. Overall, S30V is by no means a chippy steel. It's actually a great steel. It is a phenomenal EDC knife steel. It really is. But don't be scared of it. Don't be scared of it. Just take your time. But I know that's kind of a rant that I was on. So now I'll get back to the knife. With 4116, the steel takes a beautiful mirror. And I don't mean beautiful as in looks. I mean beautiful as in performance. Now, of course, it's not going to have a ton of bite. That's not, it doesn't have the carbides to do it. But it will be extremely sticky. It's not going to be super slick. It will have some bite. It will have some aggression if you do a good job. right now. I'm being incredibly careful with my angle. Filling that bevel, locking in on it. Okay, and we're just using extremely light pressure. We're using extremely light pressure. And you're going to see. Again, I know this is a long video. It's late, and it's late. I can't sleep. I'm just talking and taking my sweet ass time. But I really do want you guys that see that right there. That's because these stones are great, but like I said, the 3 and 8K, they're just too soft. That's a perfect example. You see, I caught that. That was just because of it slightly too much pressure. I applied a little bit of pressure back here to catch that edge termination, and you see what happened. I really wish they would do these same stones, but these compound, the 3 and 8K, need to be harder. And as I'm cycling from side to side, I'm just getting lighter and lighter and lighter pressure, just letting that burr do its thing and getting that apex nice and crisp. Again, being extra cautious with my angle, quadruple checking it, waiting to feel the edge lock against the stone so I know I'm perfectly on angle. Okay, now we're going to start deburring this bad boy. Ooh, that's pretty. That's a bright ass edge, I'll tell you that. It's a very bright edge. Okay, we're going to start just fatiguing that burr. We want to be exceptionally careful with our angle right now. We want to make sure we're dead on, as close as you can possibly be to repeating your angle each time. You know, if you learn to feel for that bevel to grab that stone, that is the ideal way, because then you get absolute tactile response telling you, okay, you are on the bevel. See, I can feel that bevel lock against that stone. When I feel that, I know for a fact that I am exactly on my sharpening angle, and that's what I want. Okay. This steel typically deburrs pretty well. Cold steel does a good job on it, so it deburrs pretty nicely. Man, that is a bright edge. So I would imagine right now I'm relatively clean of burr. But we are going to make a very... There's a piece of burr right there. We are going to make some edge leading deburring passes with incredibly light pressure. Incredibly light pressure. I cannot stress enough to you, incredibly light pressure. Right now is when you can make or break this edge, okay? All this work, you can make it or break it right now. And literally just one mistake right now. Slightly over angled, and bingo, you killed this edge, okay? Too much pressure, and you just deteriorated this edge quite a bit. It's all about pressure right now and dead ass angle consistency. Take your time. Do not go fast when you're doing this. Take your time. Make sure your angle is dead consistent. Exactly where you're supposed to be. And then just extra light pressure. You just want to feel that stone kissing that apex. That's it. You just want just the softest of pressure. That's what your target is when you're at this step. Okay, now get a piece of paper. We're gonna check this edge now. See if there's any burr. I'm gonna say we should be relatively clean. Yeah. You see, you know what this is from? See all these cuts? This is why when I'm sharpening, that's why I wear crap clothes. Because of this right here. This is exactly from this. Cleaning them apexes off. And all my sharpening clothes, or if I'm sharpening in good clothes, it's going to look like this very shortly after. That's why I just wear crap clothes when I'm sharpening. Look at that. Okay, I feel some burr. Yep, feel a little bit. No problem. See, right there's a little piece of burr catching. You see, we actually got a little bit of bite. Now, some of that grabbing is burr. Okay. Yeah, that grabbing, that's just little pieces of burr. Let me move this out the way. Get out the way, yo, get out the way. Get your old greasy ass out the way, motherfucker. So let's I'm just gonna go to some 3 micron. It's probably a little larger. Probably rather go to 1 micron right now, but just gonna go to 3. Oh yeah, let me show you. Let me clean this up. Okay, here's our edge. Look at that mirror. we have a very bright mirror. So yeah, look, very bright mirror. You should be able to see it. Okay, it's a very, very, very bright mirror. It's a perfect mirror, actually. We're going to go 3 micron at sharpening angle. Okay, you want exactly at sharpening angle or slightly under, not over. And you want to be using very light pressure, of course. Okay. That should have cleaned up any of that burr. That's very, very nice, but there's still a couple little fragments. No problem. Okay. Beautiful. Fantastic. Okay, that's where we're at. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to just make a couple passes on this 1/4 micron. just to finish this edge. Now this edge right here is all about the keenness right now. All about the keenness. We're not worried about bite. There's going to be some bite. We're worried about pure razor sharpness. Okay. Ooh, that 1/4 micron really brought that polish up now. Look at it now. Yeah, that's very nice. But I know this was a long video, and but I'm having my can't sleep. Y'all know it's gonna be a long video. I hope y'all enjoy it. Look at that. That's push cutting too. I'm not slice cutting at all. I'm not slice cutting at all. That's straight push cutting. That is a extremely sharp edge. Damn it. I don't want to cut myself. Trying to get the littlest coil possible, but okay, let's see. Damn it. Well, it started out good, but cutting them little coils on newspaper is not super easy. The edge is absolutely capable, but I'm not. I see, that's why it can go way smaller than that. That one there. Oh, that's a good one. Look at that beat. Well, it can go way smaller than that too. Like it's doing it easy. I can't. Let's see. Damn it. That's way too big. It'll cut it as small as you can do it. I'll tell you that. Yeah, that's about as small as I can do it. Let's see, I went in too far. I went in too deep. Let's see. Oh man, I had it going good, and then all right, one more try. And I went in too deep. That's annoying. Way too big. What the hell? I know I can. It's hard to stay like right on. I need a straight piece of paper. Nope. And see, I went in too deep. I get it going right, and then okay, that was almost a really good one. Come on. It cannot be that hard to do. See, I just don't know how to do it, I guess. Hoping then I get too deep. Anyways, edge is a razor blade, of course. 4116 can take a beautiful mirror like that and still have some. Oh, that's so sharp. And still have some bite. Yeah, it's still got some bite. Extremely keen. Yeah, no. Like, this will absolutely crazy pop hair. Like, this will easily blast through hair. Like, hair's too short, but I can't tree top it. But let's see if right here I'll probably be able to tree top it. Might be long enough. You know, that's just me bumping the hair. Can y'all see? Let's see. I just touch the hair, and of course it pops. But you have good bite. You don't really have much tooth, but you have some bite, but you have extreme keenness. It's super, super, super keen. So this edge right here will perform really for like cutting cardboard and stuff. This edge is going to be phenomenal. Yeah, this edge will be phenomenal for cutting cardboard. You know, you're not going to want to cut those really fibrous stuff. It's just going to not have enough bite for. It's not going to have enough tooth for that. But for like cardboard and anything that requires, you know, a high level of keenness, that edge will do fantastic. And keep in mind, that's not no super low. You know, that's probably 20, 21 degrees per side. This is not no, you know, super thin behind the edge knife. Yeah, this is probably about, I'd say this is probably 20 degrees per side or right at it. So, you know, this is not no super low angle edge, but you have an extremely keen edge that's going to cut beautifully, and, you know, push cutting type work, this is going to cut great. But yeah, it's all about, you know, all about the push cut. Let's see, we got paper towel. Let's see where we're at. This will cut unsupported paper towel probably. Let's see. This will probably do a pretty good job on unsupported paper towel. And that's what I mean. We got, you know, very, very high keenness. And we have good bite. Man, tearing a little bit. Yeah, it's close. I could set on a couple more passes on the strop. I could get it to, yeah, I can get it to cut unsupported paper towel. Yeah. But with a teeny bit of support, you know, cuts great. Yeah. 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 Like I said, it's not quite where it's going to clean cut unsupported paper towel. I mean, that's cutting it. It's not tearing for sure. It's just I can't slice through it. And a little bit more strop, you know, a little bit more time on the strop, and I'd be able to. Yeah. Just need a little bit more time on the strop, and yeah, we'd be able to slice free hanging paper towel. But anyways, there you go. Absolute razor. Great edge. 4116 does a great job with the mirror, especially if you're using the knife for any like push cutting stuff. It takes it and happily accepts a mirror and does good with it, and even holds on to some aggression, even with that very high grit. Like there's some aggression in this edge. Like, yeah, it is not the crap steel that y'all were told. But I know this video's gotten way out of hand on time. I'm sorry, guys. Y'all have a good day. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'm out.